Morning. It's 4:30 in the morning on a Monday in the last week of March. I've just scraped the ice off my car and just about to drive up to Scotland with a view to starting the West Highland Way today and walking it over the course of the week. And we're here. Just arrived in Milngavie, if that's how you pronounce it. It's just before 9 o'clock. I'm just going to eat some breakfast now and get on the road. So I've only walked half a mile from the car to the start of the West Highland Way so far. I've already had to ditch the coat. It's lovely, proper buzzing weather. So feeling quite fortunate to have a dry start. Backpack weighing like 18.5 kilos, which isn't the lightest, but it doesn't feel too bad. So I think it's just under 100 miles to go from Milngavie on the outskirts of Glasgow up to Fort William. Before I even got out the car, I seen quite a few people with the big backpacks on. They looked like they were setting off to do this like me. I did want to get up a little bit earlier in the year, thinking that the colder weather might equate to less people, but we'll see how it goes. I'm not too fussed. It's a bit selfish to want it all to yourself anyway, isn't it? So just cutting through a park at the minute. It's really well signposted so far. Which is probably for the best because I really haven't studied the route very well at all. Just chatting to an American guy who's come over from New York to do the West Highland Way. It's mad to me that it's so popular, you know, for so far away that someone would come especially for that, but it just goes to show how charming the Scottish countryside actually is, doesn't it? I mean, even this first bit's lovely so far. I've got a bit of a stomp on to try and put a bit of a distance between me and other groups of hikers, but certainly not trying to rush through it. It's really nice. Loads of wild garlic along the bank of this river. I'd be quite tempted to pick some for my tea to make it a bit more appetising, but it'd probably get smushed up by the time I set up camp, so I'll leave it be for other people to enjoy. Just taking a little detour off the path to visit the Glengoyne distillery. Be rude not to, really, wouldn't it? Well, I think I went in the wrong way. I've just come through yard with forklifts and that. They were nice about it, but yeah, I think I was meant to follow a path round. Never mind. Picked up a miniature, an 18-year-old single malt, which I'm going to probably save till the end and enjoy sat on that bench. They were really sound at the distillery actually. They let you fill up your water and that, really accommodating. Used it as an opportunity to adjust this bag that wasn't really sitting right and tighten my boots and whatnot. Feeling refreshed, ready to continue. Little honesty box there and looked like a little cafe or something. I don't know what they were cooking, but it smelled amazing. I don't need to be buying any more food at the minute. I need to eat some of this in my pack. It's flipping heavy. So I think when I get to Deeming, I'm going to have a sit down for a bit, have a brew or something like that. This heavy pack, man, I think I underestimated it. I'm not like out of puff or anything, cardio wise I'm fine, but my joints are feeling it, like my hips and my knees. The extra weight is just putting a lot of strain on them, which I wasn't expecting to feel on day one, to be honest, but hopefully they'll acclimatise over the course of the next few days. I'm sure I read that someone ran this from beginning to end without stopping, and it took them like 15 hours or something like that. Absolutely insane, just how fit and enduring some people are. Crazy. And I'd like to see them run it with this on the back though. Probably would. Should ever do. I think it's going to take me a bit longer than 15 hours. What a peaceful place to live that is. So quiet. Just the sound of the birds and the water. Well, through not paying attention, I've somehow completely bypassed Deeming, and now I'm walking along this A road where I really should be sat down having a brew. Can't be helped. I'm still on the West Highland Way. I'm just going to carry on and see if I can find a decent spot to just sit down and eat some of this food that I've got in my bag. Right, I've decided to just sit down at the side of the path on a pile of logs because my legs are fucked. I just need to stretch them for a minute. I proper did not expect it to take this much out of me on the first day. I don't know. To be fair, even just that 4 or 5 minute rest just then has made my legs feel a lot better, so I think that might be the way forward. Just keep breaking it up a bit rather than just, you know, ploughing forwards continually. So I think for today, if I can just get somewhere near to Conic Hill, I'll be pretty happy with that. I think that's pretty good going for the first day, and then on to Loch Lomond tomorrow. Oh, just a nice little munch stop, just had some plantain chips, a baby bell and a chocolate bar, a swig of water. Feeling alright, man, but even my shoulders feel like they've been stabbed. Killing. It's interesting because I've taken heavier bags than this up into the mountains camping. I don't know what it is. I thought if I had a lighter one and we were walking, you know, along what is essentially flat, there won't be an issue, but I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just out of practice or something. I've not been doing much walking on the run up to this, admittedly, but you know, I think back to times where me and Jed in a Monday to Friday we did Anchelac, the Five Sisters of Kintail and the Anarchegach Ridge, you know, and then you think, well, this is just a week of leisurely walking, you know, from A to B. But nah, man, that is definitely challenging me. Hopefully this first day is just like a bit of a shock to the system. I'm getting to the end either way, so, you know, whatever, but it would be nice if it wasn't pain for the whole week, you know what I mean? Alright, getting pretty close to Conic Hill now. Nice sight to see. I'm thinking find a nice place to pitch somewhere near the foot of that, and then I'll tackle it tomorrow. Now, I do enjoy this tent. It's a great little tent, but the only problem is, look at all this mesh. So if I'm setting it up in the rain, the inside's just going to get absolutely drenched. So I'm glad for the first night, at least, I'm getting to set it up in good conditions. Right, this is what I'm on this week. Cheese with a Z. That's danger. And I'll combine it with some powdered egg. Delicious, I'm sure. You know what, that was actually alright. Reasonably tasty and fairly satisfying, so yeah, decent. It's comfy in here. It's a nice little pitch, so should be a good night. So for breakfast this morning, I've got porridge, put a few dried fruit and nuts in it, a brew, and a pan au chocolat. Boiled. So I've actually put all the same clothes back on that I was wearing yesterday, which is pretty manky, including socks and boxers. The t-shirt, same t-shirt. What can you do? You know, even though I've kind of thought about that and, you know, tried to save weight by not bringing as many clothes, the pack's still heavy. So yeah, back on we go for another day. Just a little tip really for anyone that goes wild camping, especially near bodies of water, would be not to wash your pots and pans into the streams and into the lake or whatever, because it just makes a mess. Like all that grease and grime has to end up somewhere, and I mean, especially if you're washing it into a still body of water, it's not going anywhere. It's just turning the water into sludge, and it's just not very nice. An innocent mistake perhaps, but one that does have consequences. Right, that's me packed up. Leave no trace. Ready to go. Feeling quite rejuvenated actually. That was a really good sleep. Such a nice pitch. If I can find a pitch half as nice as that, you know, for tonight, I'll be chuffed. And walking up to another blue skies, warm, lovely day. Sleeping next to that stream was really nice. It's almost like it's just subtly speaking to you all night. It's like you can hear voices and animal sounds and all sorts just in the sounds of the babbling brook. Anyway, onwards to Connig Hill and Loch Lomond. Summit of Connig Hill in the distance there. Just had to veer off course slightly to get to the top of this hill, but the path up was fine. Nice gradual incline, easy going, and no midges. Oh, that's surely one of the benefits of doing it in March. The Scottish midges is something else. There you go, look at that. On that descent from Connig Hill, past a load of big burly Scottish blokes lugging massive stones up out of a gully to repair the path. What a flipping hardcore job that is. Puts things into perspective a little bit, doesn't it? There's me moaning because my wick up pack's too heavy. They're lugging boulders around. Yeah, fair play. So there was actually someone pitched up there on the shore of Loch Lomond, which is stunning. So I don't blame them. You know, and I'm never one to discourage people from wild camping, but there is actually a ban on it in this area, especially through the summer months, as far as Roadennan. And to be fair, I think it's a good idea. You know, no matter how environmentally conscious you try to be, you know, the presence of humans still always has an impact on the environment. And, you know, with hundreds of people passing through, pissing, shitting, God knows what else, I don't think it's a bad idea to necessarily keep them moving, you know. We've got to think about preserving these places, you know, so people can enjoy them in years to come. And I think it's a nice balance of, you know, allowing people to still enjoy it now, but thinking forwards to, you know, preservation and keeping it in a state that people can enjoy. I think that's part of what we're here to do, as well as enjoy this beautiful world. You know, we've got to look after it. So I'm going to be following the shores of this loch for the foreseeable. It's massive. It's the biggest loch in Scotland, and even just driving past it seems to take forever. So it'll be interesting to see what it's like to experience it on foot. Just had to stop and do a little makeshift pedicure using this stone as a nail file, because I'd not done a very good job of cutting my toes before I set off. And you know, you get them short bits on the ends that just jab into your other toes. I've been doing that with every footstep, so hopefully that smoothed them off a little bit. I didn't bring any scissors or a knife or anything like that, or nail clippers, so the stone. Doesn't look like much on camera, you can barely even tell that it's a hill really, but a lot more undulating up and down kind of path today. And you might have thought with following a loch that it'd be pretty flat, but no. And I believe that the later part is even more kind of up and down and over rocks and whatnot, so it should be interesting. Normally it wouldn't even, I don't even think it'd phase you at all, but I think the accumulation of, you know, just continual walking since yesterday morning, you really notice the ups and downs more. Well, I am doing anyway. Made it to the Roedennen Hotel, and I was really thinking that somewhere along the way on this walk, tomato soup had go down really nice, and they were selling it as soup of the day, tomato, red pepper and something else. So I thought I'd stop off for some soup. I got the brew that I didn't get yesterday, and happy days. I just went to top my water up in a drinking water tap that's outside, and I filled my bottle up and it was just like white and fizzy. Like, well, what the fuck's that? So I tipped it out and filled it again, same thing. I'm not drinking that, so I went inside to ask the guy, and I'm glad I did, because he's like, oh yeah, we've no water. Like, there's been a burst pipe, Scottish water, there's no water to the area at the minute. So I'm carrying no water at the minute. It's like 20 to 3 now, so I'm going to keep walking for the time being. That little rest has helped give me a bit more energy to carry on, so I'm not sure how far I'm going to go. Just keep going and aim to pitch around 5 PM somewhere. So literally like 2 minutes down the road I've just stumbled across that, and filled my water bottle up with that. Seems alright. Seems like the same water that I drank out of from one of them earlier, so job's a good one. Got a full water bottle again. So 68 miles to go, covered 28. It's good that things like that honesty box can still exist in today's day and age, innit? If I'm being honest with myself, I think it's become apparent that I've underestimated this walk and overestimated my ability. I guess I'm just not as young and nimble as I used to be. Somewhat naively, I thought I might be able to get this done in 5 days. You know, 5 or 6 at the most really. Thought I'd be able to put in like 20 mile a day, but where things are going, I think I'm looking at longer. My pace has slowed down quite considerably since yesterday. I don't know whether I just set off a bit too fast or what, but I'm not making the same kind of progress, that's for sure. And I didn't anticipate being in so much pain so early on. I thought that would come later, but it's all good. It's good to be humbled, and it's good to get a dose of reality every once in a while. I just bumped into a couple of European guys who were looking for their spot to set up for the night, and they seem to be carrying similarly heavy backpacks as well. One of them said, yeah, his was 16 to 18 kilos, and especially his shoulders were were killing from it. So I'm not the only one out here suffering. Suffering. Look at how nice it is. You can hardly call it suffering, really, can you? Right, I've decided to call it a day. I was wondering, you know, if I carried on any further, I don't know what kind of options there would have been for camping. It's now 5 o'clock, but I'm pretty happy with this, to be honest. Certainly no cause for complaints. I don't know how clean Loch Lomond is. It looks pretty clean to me. Cleaner than I feel anyway. So I think there might be only one thing for it. Nice little blister there. My thighs are starting to chafe a bit as well, where they're rubbing together, and between my arse cheeks is starting to feel a little bit spicy. Get some more mac and cheese with a Z and egg dust on the go. Today were a good day. I'm nowhere near as wiped out now as I was at this point yesterday, which is promising. Probably because I had such a good sleep. So hopefully I'll have another restful night tonight and wake up ready and raring to go tomorrow. A group of lads like passed in the middle of the night blasting tunes and one of them's going, "I find there are less times where I have the desire to listen to gangster rap." Yeah, I didn't have much desire to listen to it either, mate. Same breakfast as yesterday. We've got the pain au chocolat, we've got porridge with fruit and nut, we've got a coffee. I've just knocked a full tub of this water over by accident, so running low on water now. I have got a filter bottle, but I don't particularly want to drink lock water because it doesn't filter everything out. So we'll see if we can get that topped up at a tap somewhere further down the line. New boxes and socks today, which is a treat. I am going to try and get another day out of this t-shirt because I've only got one more to change into, so I'm trying to save that till the last half. I've got a couple of blisters, so whack some plasters on them and we'll hit the road. I have just found a tick on me as well, which is always a little bit disconcerting. But at least I found it. You know, black pants aren't ideal when there's ticks about, but I'll just have to keep my eye out and be aware of it. Well, nature called for the first time on the trip. Did it as responsibly as I could, away from any water sources, dug a hole and buried it. Hopefully travelling a little bit lighter now. Yeah, so just packing away then, I found another 7 or 8 ticks on the footprint of my tent. Wasn't even looking for them, they just kind of appeared. So perhaps pitching in that leaf litter wasn't the best idea, and I've probably got a few passengers with me now, but they are one to watch out for, you know, because they can make you quite seriously ill. Lyme disease is no joke. Gotta say, I'm really enjoying the kind of sense of adventure so far. And it might even sound a bit lame, but it does feel like I'm on an adventure. You know, how much of our everyday life feels like that. We do the same stuff day in, day out, week in, week out. And we get set in habits and routines, and you know, every day you're out on the trail, you're waking up and it's something new. And it's nice. I feel like there's not enough of that in our lives. And life should feel like an adventure, because it is. It's the greatest adventure we'll ever have. And it's a gift. You know, it's ours to do whatever we choose to do with it. And I think in some ways we get conditioned to feel afraid about exploring its potential. But it's out there, you know, and it's within each of us. Infinite potential waiting to be explored. And this is looking like it might be the Inversnaid Hotel coming up in the distance. So let's see if they've got a water supply that doesn't look like cloudy lemonade. Looks fine and tastes good. Electrolytes, nothing exotic. Path's definitely getting a bit zestier now, like quite bouldery, up and down. So I just had to stop and remove another tick from my arm. I don't know if it was there from earlier today or it's found its way on through the course of the day. But they're so tiny sometimes that you don't even notice them. And it was on a really awkward point on my arm that I couldn't really get to. I didn't have anything proper to remove it with, so I've just had to make do with a bank card. I seem to have got it all out, but if you're not careful, bits of the tick can stay in you, and that can cause problems as well. I know that there's a bothy somewhere along the side of the loch, and I've been holding out to see if I stumble across it now, so I can stop and, you know, have a bit of a snack and a drink of water. But it ain't manifested. I'm starting to wonder if somehow I've missed it along the way. So I'm just going to stop here, have a quick bit of something to eat, rehydrate, carry on. I'm not sure how much of Loch Lomond's left, but I'm surely at the far end of it now. But check this view out. I mustn't be drinking enough because my piss looks like iron brew, so I have to try and keep on top of that. Here it is. Good to see it nice and tidy. Do a bit of fishing. It's interesting that as the miles and days progress, the areas of your body that are bothering you seem to shift. Like at the minute, it's my feet. My feet are wrecking. I'm not sure them plasters are doing much to help with the blisters, and there's just hot spots on both of them, you know, the soles of my feet especially, quite painful. And then comparatively, you know, my joints are not really bothering me at all anymore. Shoulders aren't bothering me that much either. Now, I don't know if you can pick it up very well on the GoPro with the fisheye, but that pretty much looks to me to be the end of Loch Lomond. It'll be interesting to leave it behind as we move onwards into the Scottish Highlands. It really feels like you're entering the next phase of the journey at this point, I think, with the scenery around you starting to change and the mountains coming into view in the distance. So if you were finding Loch Lomond at all arduous or taxing, I feel like this shift is reinvigorating and renews your enthusiasm for the path that lies ahead. This looks more like it. Oh, that were heavy, that. Feeling pretty full. So, it's 20 past 3 now. Gonna keep moving again till, you know, we're approaching 5 o'clock and then think about finding somewhere to camp. Some wicked pools along this river, very tempting for a swim, and some good falls back there. I think they're called the Falls of Fallock, that you can swing into if you're driving past. Can't really see them that well from this side though while you're walking. Another blooming tick out of nowhere. They're just appearing out of thin air now. It's much easier going on these paths than it was on Loch Lomond. Feels like it's been a big day today. I don't know if it actually has or not, but I'm pretty pooped. It's a little bit roady, like the road is just there. But on the other side of me is a nice gentle stream, so hopefully that balances things out a little bit. Plasters are working overtime to try and contain these blisters. Whoa. The sky's looking a bit borderline moody as well. So, it'll be interesting to see what we wake up to tomorrow. I was getting hit with a bit of anxiety last night. No real reason to trigger. Anyone else that suffers with it will know they don't need to be. Life just feels a bit overwhelming at times, doesn't it? The brilliance, the horror, the complexity of it all. It's a lot to try and get your head round. None of us really know why we're here. That got me thinking about the West Highland Way too. Why are we doing it? Does anyone else doing it really know why? Is it to learn? Is it to grow? Is it to challenge yourself, to see something new? What brought us here? Fluke, fate, coincidence or destiny? Whatever it is, and for whatever reason, we're here now. And all that matters is that we keep trying to find a way forwards. And on a less profound note, yesterday's burger required instant evacuation this morning. So I'm afraid there's more buried plunder in the area. Didn't sleep well last night. I'm finding it difficult to get comfortable with just how unclean I feel. You know, it's one thing walking around during the day stinking, but once you get in your sleeping bag at night, it just feels so grotty. I've just had a makeshift shower by filling up a water bottle, bringing it ashore and, you know, having a quick rinse down. But could certainly do with a hot shower and a good scrub. It's been raining all night. It's still raining now. It's not heavy rain. but it adds a new dynamic to the journey. I've enjoyed resting next to a stream again and listening to it. It's almost like you can hear bits of laughter and conversation. Not like actual words or anything, just like chatter. You know, if you enter a busy room and it all kind of just blends into one noise. You know, it can go from jovial to sincere to inquisitive. Almost like the river has its own moods. Right, packed up, ready to go. I think I managed to get the inner of my tent away reasonably quickly and keep it fairly dry. So fingers crossed, if it's still like this, I can get it up as quickly tonight. Might do a little bit less filming today. Even though GoPro claim to be waterproof, I have had a GoPro break from getting wet in the past. And I'm going to end up with all this rain on the lens anyway, so it'll look pretty crap. If there's anything interesting, I'll get the camera out, but other than that... Oh, that quick wash by the side of the river has actually freshened me up quite a bit. And now with some clean clothes on, waterproofs, I'm actually feeling quite presentable for now. Oh. Oh, that's no good when you're 6'4". Well, I'm not really sure how best to tackle this. What a mess. Oh my god. Oh fuck. There's just so much tree felling going on, and the place is a bomb site. Nice to be entering some living forest now. That were like walking through a graveyard. Wow. Certainly a wet one today. Just taking shelter under this bridge for a minute. But after the last 3 days you can't complain, it's all part of it, isn't it? Well, that were bad timing. I arrived just after a big coach load of American tourists. The queue were massive, so I was stood in there for ages like a drowned rat. But the food were nice. Got a brew and a few Coca-Cola refills. Nice to take the coat off for a bit and dry out. And to be honest, I'd rather be back out in the rain than getting on that coach. It was quite cool to reach the Green Welly on foot actually, because it's always a bit of a milestone whenever you're driving up to Scotland. Stop by, you know, have a perv on the whiskey selection in the shop. But didn't pick one up this time. I'm not lugging that all the way up to Fort William. Just past the bridge of Orkey. It's about 4 o'clock. Just going to carry on for the time being. It is proper lashing down. I think part of me is just putting off having to stop and put the tent up. Wet and windy up here. I think it goes up and over. I can't camp up here, just gonna have to keep moving. I was just too slow getting the camera out, it came right up to me. Hello there. How are you? Man, that was absolutely mental. Just strong winds out of nowhere, driving rain. Luckily a chap's just turned up at the same time as me and he were pitching, and so we've managed to help each other get our tents up. But like that hotel just there was like tempted me sorely. But with pitch now, my waterproofs have kept me dry all day, to be honest, but I've now sorting the tent out, getting in, I've managed to get a little bit wet. But we'll get set up and get warm. I ain't getting back out of this tent tonight. No, it has actually calmed down now compared to what it was, but still very unpleasant out there, so I'm staying put in here and I'm keeping warm. So since leaving Loch Lomond, it's been a lot easier underfoot and you can cover ground a lot faster. I feel like I've made good progress today, from just before Crying Larrick to the Inveroran hotel where I'm at now. It's funny, you know, because when I was forming the idea for wanting to do this walk in my mind, I had this ideal vision of, you know, me being out here on my own for the week and, you know, minimal human interaction and just me and the wilderness. And I bumped into the guy that I met right at the beginning of the walk today, Richard from New York, just after the Green Welly stop, and we walked, you know, together from there to the Bridge of Orkey. And the more we chatted, the more I realised that we had, you know, quite a bit in common with each other. You know, we were talking about growing shiitake mushrooms, like, and there were loads of other stuff that we just related to each other about, and it was a good chat, and you know, the time flew. Whereas at the beginning of the walk, you know, I was kind of rushing to get away from him because I thought, oh, you know, I don't want to be stuck chatting to this guy. I want to, you know, get going on this mission and, you know, be on my own. And it just goes to show, doesn't it, that if you give people a chance, then there's always going to be something that you can relate to each other about. We do have things in common, you know, we're human. And then again, you know, with arriving at the Inveroran hotel and just crazy weather, and just like kind of taking a minute to think like, shit, what am I gonna do? And then this guy just appears out of nowhere with like a can-do attitude, and he's like, yeah, come on, we can help each other sort our tents up and it'll be right. And we did, you know, and now we're both just chilling in our tents, nice and dry, warm. It's humbling, you know, and it makes me feel quite emotional that I would shun, you know, the possibility of these kind of life-affirming human interactions, you know. We shouldn't be so quick to dismiss one another, because when we get on board with each other, you know, we can make life easier, we can help each other, you know, we can make life better, we can make this world better. I don't know if the camera can pick that up very well, but it's actually white on them hills over there in the direction I came from yesterday. And I've just had a stag watching me pack my tent away, which is pretty cool. Well, I heard a break in the rain this morning. I thought I'd act upon it and get packed away. And I'm glad I did, because it's coming back down again now. Looking pretty bleak. But who knows, it might not be like this all day. I don't really know what either of us would have done last night if we hadn't bumped into each other. The wind was absolutely wild, and there was some strong gusts through the night as well, just like kind of, it had seemed to calm down for a bit and then all of a sudden just batter you out of nowhere, you know, like a big roar as it started to rush through the trees, you know. And in my haste to get set up, I didn't think to, you know, check the trees around us and see if they looked up to withstanding that kind of wind, you know. You don't want anything falling on you in the night, but thankfully that was alright. I wouldn't have fancied camping down here last night either. With how swollen the rivers were, I think that might have been squeaky bum time. Yeah, I wish I could have caught some of that weather last night as we were setting tents up, but it weren't really the time to be messing around with the camera. Easily the worst conditions I've ever tried to set a tent up in. But we did it. Getting into the realms of the big boys now. It's nice to be getting these breaks in the rain today. Just descending down now towards the A82. Weather's definitely coming in up ahead. Sleet. And then it's not long before you're absolutely drenched again. Don't know if you can see the deer in that shot. So, Glencoe Mountain Resort is just up that path, but I'm going to carry on to the King's House Hotel. I used to have a living job round here, up at Ballahoolidge, and I always heard good things about the King's House, but I never got round to visiting. So I'm quite excited to check it out now and hopefully get something to eat. I'm glad it's fined up a bit to get a nice view of Buccleuch Moor. The views from the top of that Munros there, looking out over this big, vast, flat expanse. Brilliant. But I'm glad I'm not walking up it today. My feet are feeling well raw today. I think with putting the wet boots back on, the rubbing just feels that much more pronounced. And it was quite a stony path back there. So every little knock or bump just feels that much more exaggerated. Public showers. Yes. an amazing idea. It's like £1 a do, but you got a really long hot shower out of it. Yeah, just brilliant. I didn't have any soap or shampoo to wash my hair or anything like that, but just to warm it over your body, really nice. And just for a second, comes up here, you know, drying out my boots and stuff from the hot dryer. For one, it would have taken forever, and for two, I don't want to take the mick, you know, when they're providing such a good facility for walkers. You don't want to abuse it, so wet boots back on again. But also the food was exceptional. It almost felt a little bit too nice in there, you know, for a dirty rambler that's 5 days into walking through Scotland and camping out. But they were cool about it. Yeah, I must say that that's left me feeling really full of energy now, ready to carry on towards Kinlochleven. Here we go. Well, it looks like I've just come over the top, and it was a bit tiring, especially with the wind and the on and off sleet, but I'd say it was somewhat less devilish than advertised. On a scale of 0 to devil, I'd probably give it a 5. My feet aren't enjoying these stony bits of descent much. I believe that waterproof socks are a thing. I think that might be something to invest in for next time I do something like this. This descent into Kinlochleven feels long. So it ages ago, and it's just taking forever to get there. And then out of nowhere the descent turns into an ascent again. The only saving grace about this section is that it's easy underfoot. And we'll stick with the positives and leave it at that. But in the distance there, that's Kinlochleven, and that's a welcome sight. Just ascending out of Kinlochleven now, where hopefully I'll come across a decent spot to pitch soon, because I'm pretty spent. As you can see, everywhere is really boggy after all that rain, so I've decided to opt for this here. Solid ground at least, a bit of a view of the loch. And I just can't be arsed going on, so this will do for tonight. Miles better conditions for setting a tent up tonight. And what's nice is it's been dry for a little bit now, so I'm reasonably dry. It means I can get into the tent without making all the inside wet like yesterday. Really, it's not a bad little spot, this. It's not too close to the path, it's, you know, fairly secluded. And some of them campsites in Kinlochleven were just pretty much a patch of lawn next to a tarmac road, so I'd sooner be here. Jesus. That were another tough day today, but I'm in a position now where, good fortune permitting, I should be in Fort William for a reasonable time tomorrow to finish the West Highland Way. Might even have 3 scoops of mac and cheese tonight. Have a blowout. Good timing. Couldn't be arsed being out in this now. There's a danger of making trips like this entirely about ourselves. But this place isn't about me, or any individual passing through. We're just a tiny, temporary part of it. The world's always communicating something to us. We're waiting patiently for an opportunity to do so. And if we don't learn to just be quiet and listen every once in a while, then we aren't going to hear it. There's also this imaginary man versus the elements thing, us versus nature. But nature, and in this case the West Highland Way, is our host, not our adversary. When we stop battling against it and seeing it as something to be defeated, we might realise it's been on our side all along. I don't think life has to be about winning. Maybe it's just about taking part. Right, climbing up and away from Kinlochleven on what should be the 6th and final day for me of the West Highland Way. Packed my tent away for what should be the last time. Found a couple of ticks again as I was putting my thermarest away. But I have booked a hotel for tonight in Fort William and it's got a bath. So I'm going to buy some salts and some shampoo and conditioner. And if any ticks are still on board at that point, looks like they're luxuriating in a bubble bath with me. What I do find a little bit of a shame with the way the route cuts up over the Devil's Staircase and down into Kinlochleven is that you miss out on some of the most impressive sights of Glencoe. You know, the Three Sisters, Ossian's Cave. The first time I drove past that, you know, I didn't know anything about Glencoe or their existence. I was absolutely awestruck. Just a real display of artistry by nature. That's the thing about this world, isn't it? It all functions so perfectly in synchronicity and harmony. But why does it need to be so beautiful? That just seems to be an extra little flourish. You know, just nature taking pride in its work. When I was working and living up here in the hotel, there were obviously a number of staff that all had the same job as me. And there were a girl that worked there called Jana from the Czech Republic. And she became pretty much my best friend up here. You know, we went on plenty of walks together. I remember one day I'd been up Bidian, and then she asked me that evening if I wanted to go up Ben Nevis the next day. I was like, yeah, fuck it, go on then, why not? But she was just a really good-natured, well-meaning, kind soul, you know. And anyway, I found out a few years back that she's no longer with us, that she'd taken her own life. It's just so fucking sad, man, that someone that has that much goodness to offer the world, you know, can't find a place within it, you know, can't find a sense of belonging. Life is worth living, man, no matter how fucking hard it gets. That's what we're here to do, just get through it, you know. Nothing's impossible. You just got to find a way, and there's always a way. The love that we find in our friends and share with our family and just people in general, it stays with you. They stay with you. They become part of you, part of who you are. So in a way, she's still with me now as I'm walking through the same terrain that we used to walk together all them years ago. But it still just seems like such a waste. Anyone that's struggling, you know, just keep going. It'll get easier. It's worth living, trust me. You're worth it, you know. You have so much more to offer this world than you think, and this world needs you here. You can do infinitely more good by being here than you can by not being here. I'd set off from camp then with no water on me. To be honest, I've not been drinking that much water throughout the whole walk. I feel like I drink more when I'm at home. It's just, I don't know, felt like a bit of a chore somehow to get it down. But I'm probably going to be right until I get to Fort William, I think. If not, I'm sure these streams will be alright with a filter bottle. I'm going to be taking some food back home with me, so I could have packed less of that. It's just personal preference, isn't it? There's plenty of places to pick up food and to have sit-down meals along the way. If you'd rather rely more heavily on that and shave some weight off your pack in the process. Ben Nevis is somewhere up there, up in the clouds. Legs are sore again quite quickly today. I've been walking for about 4 hours, so I'm just taking it slow and steady on the descent down towards Glen Nevis campsite, where I can hopefully fill my water bottle up and have a drink, and then continue on to the finish line. Right, the route actually takes you round the back of the campsite and past it. So I know it might sound pathetic, but I'm not walking back just to come back again. I'm going to carry on towards Fort William. I don't know why I didn't think to bring any gloves either, but my hands are freezing. Nice. I don't think I'll be purchasing a certificate though. Some veg soup, a brew, some fizzy pop. Didn't realise how much I needed that. Felt a bit weird when I got in there and stopped walking. Took my bag off and trying to order food. Felt a bit spaced out. But it's done the trick. Here he is. My brother. Oh. Well, I haven't forgotten about this wee beauty, but I think I've got an idea for how I might enjoy it a little bit more than sat here with you.